I'm going to use as a subject today, where do we go from here? It says in St. Luke chapter 1, verse 35, in the morning, rising up a great while before day, Jesus went out and departed into a solitary place, and there he prayed. One passage in the New Testament says that Jesus frequently withdrew to the wilderness to pray. And in Matthew chapter 14, verse 23, it says that after he dismissed his disciples, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. And when evening came, he was there alone. Prayer is a lifestyle, not a last alternative when nothing else works. Jesus taught us that we ought to always pray, to be in constant prayer, in constant communion with God, and to not faint. Paul taught that we should pray without ceasing. And James taught us through his book that we have not because we do not ask. Prayer should never be a last resort or a backup plan if nothing else works. Incorporate lots of prayer into your daily schedule. Don't be a person who just squeezes in a prayer or two during the course of the day, or who lives by 3 or 4 words in prayer. Lord, have mercy. Make prayer the bedrock of your existence. Anything that is the bedrock of your existence implies that it is the foundation or the base or the heart or the essence of your existence. I challenge you to become a person of prayer. I'd like to be known as a person of prayer. Be known because of your prayer life as a believer. Be known because you spend time talking to God, not gossiping, not complaining, not criticizing, and not arguing and debating. And beyond deciding to pray in answer to where do we go from here, I heard God just a few months ago, several months ago actually, saying to me very clearly, escape to the mountains. Where do we go from here? Where should we go from here? He said to me, escape to the mountains and go to Mount Moriah. I heard God say that to me personally. And I'm not a nature boy. I don't spend a lot of time outside. I'm not a hunter. I'm a swimmer. And I don't even like to swim outside. I swim indoors year-round. So when I heard God say to me, go to the mountains, escape to the mountains, it didn't compute, particularly when he said, go to Mount Moriah. This is what I heard God say to me. I was actually at that time swimming underwater inside the YMCA, but I heard God say, go to the mountains, escape to the mountains, and go to Mount Moriah. I used to travel a lot, used to ride in airplanes a lot, going to a lot of places from coast to coast, but now I have not traveled by airplane in a long time, and at that time I had ceased the frequent traveling by air. But I knew God was saying something that was significant to my life. And I heard him say, go to Mount Moriah, escape to the mountains. As a result, I began to translate what I was hearing as being something spiritual. And then I began to reflect on Mount Moriah biblically and spiritually. I thought of Abraham. So when I got home, I opened the Bible to Genesis chapter 22. First passage I'd like to refer to today, Genesis chapter 22, beginning with verse 1.
And it came to pass, after these things that God did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham? And he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went unto the place of which God had told him. Then on the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand, and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father? And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together.
They went to Mount Moriah. I attempted to get the interpretation for myself regarding where I should go from here, in light of the fact that I knew God was speaking to me. I'm not the type of person who hears audibly from God, or would assume that God is speaking to me in various circumstances audibly. But I heard him say, Go to Mount Moriah, escape to the mountains. So my first assertion today is, where do we go from here? We go to the mountains. We go to Mount Moriah. Going to Mount Moriah, I began to understand, meant going to a place of sacrifice and worship. What do you do when you're in a valley of decision or a valley of indecision? My suggestion is escape to your place of sacrifice and worship. Escape to your place that I'm calling Mount Moriah. The Abrahamic model of what to do when faced with a difficult decision or assignment is to revert to a place of worship. Give God the sacrifice of praise, the sacrifice of surrender. Not my will, but yours be done. Give him the sacrifice of faith, of believing God when there is no rationale. Believing God when there is no clear path, no clear blueprint. The sacrifice of saying, yes, Lord, when worshiping seems to be paradoxical. That is the opposite of what you should be doing or how you should be responding. When it seems God is taking something away that he gave you, that's paradoxical. God told Abraham, take Isaac to Mount Moriah and offer him as a sacrifice. If you know the story of Abraham's birthing, in effect, of Isaac, you knew that this was something that happened miraculously. It was a earth-shattering experience for him and his wife, Sarah. Then God tells him to give him back to him, to offer him as a sacrifice. The interesting thing is when Abraham truly said yes, the provision was made. And the Bible refers to Jehovah Jireh. The way of escape appeared. The Lord will provide. His faith was rewarded. Going to Mount Moriah, the place of sacrifice and worship, means taking steps of faith and performing acts of faith through fasting and prayer and worshiping and believing God in the midst of the challenges of your life and in the heat of the furnace, in the midst of the fiery trial. Get as close to God as you possibly can and learn how to trust God unconditionally. The best experience that you can develop in your walk with God is to learn how to trust him unconditionally. Mount Moriah became ultimately, or geographically, Mount Moriah was where Solomon's temple was built. Mount Moriah was called the fountain of shalom, the place of peace. Escape to the mountain. I suggest to you, if you are bewildered by the circumstances of our society, the circumstances regarding this impending election, this very important election, and all of the trauma and drama surrounding these times, escape to the mountain called Mount Moriah, to a place of peace. And escape to that place of peace by learning how to trust God unconditionally. It seems as if there are no answers. It seems as if one person has one answer, another person has the opposite answer. You need to escape to Mount Moriah. Geographically, in elevation, Mount Moriah was a little bit over 2,500 feet up. It's often called Isaac's mountain, Abraham's proving ground. God said, now I know you truly trust me. The fact that he became willing and basically said, yes, Lord, I'll do this. I will offer him. Although I don't understand you, I trust you. I believe in you. I believe what you're saying, what you're telling me to do. Abraham's proving ground, the testing that he went through, he passed the test. The turning point of Abraham's life, he became the Abraham we now know, the man of faith, the father of faith. Where do we go from here? First of all, we go to Mount Moriah, a place of sacrifice and worship, to hear God and to hone our faith. Secondly, in answer to where we are to go from here, let's look at Exodus chapter 19 and a couple of verses, verse 10 and verse 11.
And the Lord said unto Moses,
Go
unto the people, and sanctify them today and tomorrow, and let them wash their clothes, and be ready against the third day. For the third day the Lord will come down in the sight of all the people upon Mount Sinai.
In answer to where we are to go from here, I suggest, number one, go to Mount Moriah Secondly, I'm suggesting go to Mount Sinai. In this particular passage, God told Moses to sanctify the people, that is, prepare them for his presence, and to be ready for on the third day, the Lord will come down in the midst of all the people. Mount Sinai represents the place of God's presence and of preparation. When you are in the valley of indecision, make your way to Mount Sinai, the place that represents God's presence. At Mount Sinai, God revealed himself. If you'll read the context of this passage, God revealed himself in chapter 19, and he revealed the purpose of the trial, of the testing that Israel was going through in chapter 20. Read these passages with that understanding in mind. Scholars taught that hundreds of years later, the Apostle Paul went to Mount Sinai after he had been converted, and there received a direct revelation from God to prepare himself for the mission that God had for him. God's presence and God's preparation of us, God's assignment is revealed. These things are revealed through Mount Sinai. This is the church's final hour, finest hour. In light of the indecisiveness of this day, the confusion going on all around us, the church has to step forward and be the church, to stand on the vanguard of what's right, to stand on the vanguard of what to do in times like these. We should go to Mount Sinai, representative of a place of preparation and presence. You cannot move forward without going by Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai was 7,500 feet, approximately 7,500 feet in elevation. You must spend time in God's presence to gain clarity for your life and to gain understanding of God's assignment for you. Without God's presence and revelation in your life, everywhere you find yourself will seem like a wilderness, and you will be forever asking, what is God's will? What is God's plan? What am I supposed to be doing? Why am I here? Mount Sinai is the place of God's revealing presence, and you get there through fervent prayer. Number one, we are to go to Mount Moriah, the place of sacrifice and worship. Secondly, where do we go from here? We escape to the mountains. We escape to the mountain called Mount Sinai, a place of preparation and God's presence. Thirdly, in answer to where we are to go from here, in light of these troublesome times, let's read from Numbers chapter 14, verse 7 through 12.
And they spake unto all the company of the children of Israel, saying, The land which we passed through to search it is an exceeding good land. If the Lord delight in us, then he will bring unto us into this land, and give it us, a land which floweth with milk and honey. Only rebel not ye against the Lord, neither fear ye the people of the land, for they are bread for us. Their defense is departed from them, and the Lord is with us. Fear them not. But all the congregation bade stone them with stones. And the glory of the Lord appeared in the tabernacle of the congregation before all the children of Israel. And the Lord said unto Moses, How long will this people provoke me? And how long will it be ere they believe me, for all the signs which I have showed among them? I will smite them with the pestilence, and disinherit them, and will make thee a greater nation and mightier than they.
Where are we to go during these challenging times? We go to Mount Moriah, the elevation of which is 2,300 feet or more. Then we go a little bit higher. We go to Mount Sinai. The elevation of Mount Sinai is approximately 7,500 feet. And we go higher than that to Mount Hebron. Mount Hebron represents your place of inheritance. It is the place of inheritance. Where do we go from here? To Mount Hebron. We should, like Caleb, go to this mountain, to your place of inheritance. You've sacrificed, you've worshiped, you've gotten into God's presence, you've gotten revelation through God's presence, and therefore you go to a higher plane in your prayer life, in your communion with God, and you discover or rediscover your place of inheritance, Mount Hebron. This mountain, as it was for Caleb, is wherever and whatever God has promised you. After we've been to Mount Moriah and to Mount Sinai, and we should be ready to take this mountain like Caleb did. Take this mountain, your place of inheritance. We should be ready to receive the promises that God has placed over our lives. Caleb said, Give me my mountain. God claimed the mountain because the mountain had been declared as his, according to prophetic words given to him through Moses. When you have been promised something by God, remember this as you claim your place of inheritance, as you claim the things that you believe God has for you. Remember that Satan is not going to just hand what you've been promised over to you. You won't get the inheritance without a fight. You have to take it by force. Caleb let them know, I am strong enough to do what it takes to lay hold of my inheritance. And you have to gird up the loins of your mind and take that which God has promised. He knew he had met the prerequisites to receiving his inheritance, and that's what you must do. Meet the prerequisites to getting what God has promised. All of the promises of God are yea and amen in him. And there are over 7,500 promises in the Word of God. And we need to lay hold on what God has promised us. What God has said is ours. He had gone against the grain, Caleb had, and had taken a righteous stand. Others had lost their courage. Others had lost their faith. Others had given up. Others had compromised. But in the story regarding the taking of the land of inheritance, Caleb, along with Joshua, came back with a good report, while 10 other spies had said, we're too weak. They were negative, and they brought back what the Bible calls an evil report. They said, we're like grasshoppers. We're already defeated in effect. Caleb had said, let us go up at once. Let's go now and possess the land, for we are well able to overcome it. Caleb said, I have completely followed the Lord. I have wholly, that is, Wholly. I have completely followed the Lord my God. So give me my inheritance. You take what God has promised to you by force. When you have done what God has told you to do, you can boldly claim your inheritance and say, give me my mountain. Hebron, Mount Hebron, your place of inheritance. Remind yourself of God's promises to you. Remind yourself of prophecies that have been spoken over your life, over your family, over your heritage, over your legacy, and say, give me my mountain. Not only do we have the opportunity to get what God promised by escaping to the mountain called Mount Moriah, and to Mount Sinai, and to Mount Hebron, which represents your place of inheritance. Fourthly and finally, I want us to read a few passages, a few verses from St. Matthew chapter 17. Let's begin with, I believe, verse 1.
And after 6 days, Jesus taketh Peter, James, and John his brother, and bringeth them up into an high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias, talking with him. Then answered Peter and said unto Jesus, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them, and behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him.
Where are we to go from here in light of all of the different noises we're hearing from coast to coast of what we should do, where we shall be, what shall happen to us as a nation, as a people? We are to escape to the mountains. We escape to the mountains through sacrifice and worship at Mount Moriah, through getting to that place of preparation and into the presence of God, by claiming our inheritance and taking that which God has assigned to us spiritually. Fourthly, I suggest escape to the mountain of transfiguration. The mountain of transfiguration is a place of enlightenment, illumination, of great change. It is an important place to be as you grow up in God, as you get to that place in God where you're supposed to be. Mount of Transfiguration is one of those places where most people, historians, have not been able to find out where this occurred, literally or geographically. But we know it was a place of enlightenment. It was a place of mystery that Jesus took specific disciples to experience. That particular mountain, referred to as Mount Tabor, was over 1,800 feet high. Jesus honored his disciples, these particular disciples, by giving them a revelatory experience. It matured them and sobered them. The Mount of Transfiguration is a place of maturity and revelation. I think God is taking me to a place of maturity, a place of growth and revelation. And it has caused my faith to be sharpened, caused my hearing to be enlightened, improved. And I'm hearing something differently from God. And I'm saying, any way you bless me, Lord, I'll be satisfied. It's all circumstances are in your hands. This place of transfiguration was a revelation, a revelatory experience, a place of revelation. These different mountains or places of height. We went from 2,300 feet to 7,500 feet to 1,400 feet, now to about 1,900 feet. I was comparing these mountains in terms of height with Mount Everest, one of the highest peaks in the world, once declared as the highest peak in the world among the Himalayan mountains in Asia. And so it's challenging to escape to the mountains, but going to the mountains is similar to Jesus stealing away from among the voices and his disciples and the doubters and getting with God and God alone. That's what you need to do to overcome the troublesome world that we're in, the troublesome society, in dangerous circumstances in which we find ourselves. Escape to the mountains. Escape to where God is, where God can speak to you, where you can gain the peace that God calls peace that passeth all understanding. I want to suggest to you that God has something in store for you, that God wants to bless you. He wants to enlighten you. He wants to spend time preparing you, enabling you to fulfill your assignment for him. He wants you to understand, to learn his presence. He wants you to get that which has been promised to you. The song says you've been waiting on a blessing, and it seems that it just won't come. Doors are shut and things are rough, and it seems that you are done. But the devil is a liar and a deceiver too. God is not through blessing you. You may have been waiting on deliverance, and it seems as if it will not come. Your body may be wrecked with pain, body sick, pain everywhere, and it seems that nobody cares. You seem isolated in a world of over 7 billion people. You seem isolated in a world where voices of people, circumstances are teeming about you. It seems that nobody cares, but remember, the devil is a liar, and he's a deceiver too. You'll discover that God is not through. If you go to Mount Moriah, that place of sacrifice and worship, if you go to Mount Sinai and get prepared and get into God's presence, if you go to Mount Hebron and claim your inheritance, or to the Mount of Transfiguration, where you yourself will be transformed by the presence of God. You've been waiting on a miracle, waiting on God to come through for you. My God is not through blessing you, and you need to say that to yourself. God is not through blessing me. Whatever he promised, go to your place of inheritance and say to yourself, whatever God promised, he's able to do. He's not through blessing me. My God is not through, my brothers and sisters. He's not through blessing you. And it's just a reminder that if you've sown your seeds, God is going to fulfill his word. I don't care how dark the circumstances are, how dark the environment is. God can penetrate through all of that and bless you and fulfill his promises. He's not through. Don't give up. Never, never give up. What he promised, he will do. My God is not through. I assure you, he is not through. You've got to tell yourself in positive words of declaration, God is not through blessing me. He's not through blessing you. You, those I'm speaking to today. He's not through blessing you and especially you, because he will fulfill what he promised. So where shall we go? Where do we go from here? I challenge you to the mount called Moriah, to Sinai, to Hebron, to the Mount of Transfiguration. And in that transfiguration, you'll discover blessings, 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 and blessings beyond your thoughts and imagination.